That's fine. Just throw one. Okay, so this is amazing toying. I am going to start. I hope you can all see my screen. And if you can't see my screen or you can hear me, just type in the chat box or toggle your or check your computer. Okay, so this is amazing toying. I want to welcome everyone on this seminar. I see there's quite a few large number of people that are attending. I have a list here. Um, So I want to thank you for coming, and I want to welcome you all. My name is Tony Dawodu, and I am the founder of GICDealFinders.com. This is my first seminar or webinar. I always interchange. This is my first webinar. We did some um, teleconferences in the past, okay? But I wanted to bring my members to this webinar so that I can answer uh, their most pressing question, because most people have this question that they are always worried about, something that is stopping them from becoming a real estate investor. Now, and so the first thing I want to tell you is this: wherever you are right now and wherever you want to go depends on the decisions you make starting from right now, okay? And the reason it's taking me a long time to have to give seminars or webinars is because giving webinars is not really part of my MO. Okay, it's not something that I do on a regular basis. I'm not one of those gurus that get money from selling webinars. I am an investor and I buy and sell properties. I started GIC Deal Finders strictly for the purpose of teaching my son how to buy and sell houses. And eventually it grew into where others want to participate. So I increased the membership. So the number of people that have joined our program over the last 1.5 years since we started this program has increased to what I didn't even expect. But when you are learning something new, because I wanted to give so I'm gonna put this on hold for a second. Okay, so as stated, I had to take a little time off because I'm doing this from my home office. This is my first webinar, and what I'm trying to show everybody on this initial webinar is that when you are learning something new, it's completely strange to you. And that's the difference between getting to become an expert at something and having somebody hold your hand or trying to do it yourself. Okay. Now, this webinar, I've been practicing it for a couple of days, right? But right now, I am on my own, and this is not something that I do on a regular basis. So I want you guys to just give me a break. This is my first practice run, okay? If you were to give me a deal right now, a real estate deal, I will know exactly how to tear it apart, appraise it, check, do everything. When it comes to operating on the internet and even though I dream up a lot of things, but I'm not technology inclined. Okay, so a lot of the technology that is behind GIC Deal Finders, even though I thought about it, but I still have to bring in others to put it together. So this webinar, I keep calling it a seminar because I'm not used to, this webinar is my first one. and I'm going to get into the thick of things in a minute. Okay, so I sent out this survey to ask everybody what is the number one thing that is keeping you from doing real estate. And we had a lot of people respond, and the number one response that I got, okay, almost 85% of the people out there mentioned the most important thing that people always struggle for or people always strive for, which is money. Everybody, 85% of the people that answered the survey indicated that the number one thing stopping them from becoming a real estate investor is funds. So I'm going to get to that, the solution to resolve or to solve your funding problem at the end of this or towards the end of the webinar. So if you are online, and I want you to stay till the end of the webinar, so you'll be able to um, get the solution to your number one problem, which is finding the money to do the deals. Now, um, you might want to ask yourself, why are you here? I mean, if you're a member of GIC Deal Finders, why did you join GIC Deal Finders? And I'm assuming you joined because you wanted to become a real estate investor, or you want to find properties and make some money, okay, make extra money. Every one of us has a dream, okay? And so in the past, the American dream is, you go to college, I mean, you get a good job, you buy a house, and then you live happily ever after. At some point, within the last 5 to 7 years, that dream began to elude a lot of Americans, right? A large majority of people now have this dream elude them. When I say elude them, it means that the job that most people depend on is no longer dependable. Because I always tell people the only job you could depend on is the job you create for yourself. So if you want to create an American dream, you have to create it for yourself. You can no longer depend on what your parents depended on over the last 50 years. And so, uh, regardless of where you are right now, you probably think, well, the dream, if you already have a college degree or if you don't have one, um, you might be thinking, well, this dream is no longer possible for me because everything is so complicated these days. It's tough to get a job. If you have a job, it's tough to keep it. Uh, Companies lay off left and right. If you've been reading the papers, even though we've been growing over the last 3 or 4 years, the some companies are beginning a layoff. Okay, we don't know when the next recession is coming, but I can guarantee you it's going to show up whether the next year or the next couple of years. So if you want the American dream, you have to begin to create your own American dream starting today. So my American dream is really what I'm living right now. And to me, my American dream is to be able to do what I want when I want. Okay. And what I want the most today is to spend as much time as I can with my family, especially my pumpkin. So if you've been um, on my, Facebook, you will have seen a lot of pictures of myself and my pumpkin. Uh, my pumpkin is my daughter. Her name is Kemi, and so I want to be able to be in a position where I wake up, I take her to school, attend every school program that she's involved in. Take her to dance class, every program she is involved in. Okay, and the only thing that allows me to do that, okay, is real estate. As real estate gives me the flexibility to wake up and not have to do anything if I don't want to, or do certain things when I want to. So you have to ask yourself, why do you want to be in real estate? Okay. And so if you're looking for freedom to do what you want, when you want, and how you want it, okay, I said to people several times, the best opportunity, um, I'm getting some text, on my cell phone, and people are saying, yeah, they're not in the seminar. So I am going to take some time to kind of respond to that. Let me, if you give me a few minutes. Uh, but I was just wondering if you are still, yeah, it's on. Um, so let me send this seminar information to some people that are just trying to join. So obviously they must have they're probably in the wrong seminar. See right here. So you guys give me a few minutes so I can send, some information to somebody that wants to get into the seminar. Uh, okay, so you have to decide for yourself, why do you want to be in real estate? Okay, even if you have a job right now, you should look at real estate as something that can give you the freedom that you might desire in the future. It's something that will give you a part-time income, okay, or a full-time income on a part-time effort. Once you get good at real estate, you know how to do it. You don't have to work 40 hours a week. Unlike most people, in order for you to make a living in real estate, you could design your own hours to where you work as much as you want, when you want, but in most cases, you don't work 40 hours a week. I know that because I do real estate, and these days, I don't even know when I work, because when my daughter was like 4 or 5 years old, they asked her in class, "What does your dad do?" And she said to them, "Well, uh, he sits at home all day, watches CNN, and he's always on the phone." So that's it. Because I'm at home when she leaves, I drop her in school. When she comes back, I'm at home sometimes when her mom picks her up. So real estate allows you to do all that uh, stuff. Now, some of you might be asking, why am I qualified to be talking to you right now? Okay, and you have a right to ask, because I sent you an invitation, and so it's like, who is this guy that wants to tell me about real estate? Well, I'm going to give you a brief overview of myself. So I'm going to kind of go through this real quick. Okay, as I said, my name is Toyin Dawodu, and I'm also known as Amazing Toyin. Now, all the things that I've told you right now that I'm going to tell you in terms of my qualification does not necessarily mean you have to have the same qualifications. Because when I started, none of these qualifications actually were part of the reasons I became successful in real estate. I just happened to have had them before I got involved full time in real estate. So why am I an expert? Well, in terms of education, I've done a lot. I've been to school like every one of you. You go to primary school, high school. I happen to have 4 college degrees. I have a master's degree. I'm also a licensed real estate broker. Um, Over the last 20 years since I've been in business, okay, I've started more than 12 different companies, and I grew each one to about $1 million in revenue. Okay. I have also bought and rehabbed over 400 properties that are worth over $50 million. At some point in my business life, I owned a law office. Even though I'm not a lawyer, I did attend law school for about two quarters, until one of my lawyers, attorneys that were working for me, told me, "Are you out of your mind, Toyin? Why are you going to law school? You're already paying us salary to work for you." But I got so busy, I had to drop out of law school because I had too many businesses uh, running. I used to own a mortgage company about 10 years ago. I don't do mortgages right now. I refer all my mortgages to other partners that specialize in loans. Uh, I've done, I've attended a lot of seminars. If there is a guru out there in real estate, okay, the chances I've attended their seminar, okay, or webinar or training, whatever they are offering, I've attended it over a period of time. And the reason I'm able to attend it is because number one, I had the money to attend it because I was doing a lot of deals. I still do a lot of deals. I like education. I like to feed my brain because the only thing I know that somebody or anybody cannot take from me is what I invest in my brain. Okay. In the last 7 years, if you know and you've been part of this economy, you know that you cannot really control anything besides what you have in your brain. Because when the economy took a dump, a lot of people lost their money. Big companies filed bankruptcy, small companies filed bankruptcy, people lost millions and millions of people lost their homes. Okay. But people like us that have the knowledge, okay, of how to survive in any economy, okay, because at one point, I mean, if you've been through this cycle a few times, you know how to survive. And the best way to survive is to feed your brain with information that are critical that can help push you forward or give you a different way of attacking a problem. So, um, so over the last 12 years, I've done a lot of things in real estate. I've done subdivision, I've built houses, I've cut land and put it in in small subdivisions. Okay. Now, one of the things I do every morning when I wake up is I read the papers. Um, in addition to that, I read a lot of books. I think I read about a book or two, a week. Okay. And the reason I read the book is because your brain is just like your muscle. Okay. And so the more you feed to your brain, the sharper you become. Okay. I read a lot of magazines every morning. I read the Wall Street Journal. I get the Economist. These magazines give me a world perspective because in addition to real estate, I do real estate because it's my passion. In addition to real estate, there are a whole bunch of other stuff that I do, okay, that are a lot bigger than real estate. For example, right now, I'm trying to help build power plants in Africa. If you live in the US, you don't even know what you have in terms of, I can't say being lucky, but in some respects, you have to consider yourself lucky because there are people that wake up every morning and they have no electricity, they have no water. Okay. So I'm trying to help solve some of that problems, and that gives me a bigger picture. It gives me something to aim for. Okay. Because when you look at yourself and say, what is your purpose? Well, my purpose is bigger than just buying and selling houses. I want to have an impact on the world. And one of the ways I will be able to impact the world is to help generate electricity for almost 1 billion people in Africa. So if you Google my name, you'll see me doing other things. Real estate just happened to be my passion. I love doing it. It's fun. And people ask me, well, what do you mean by it's fun? Well, if you remember when you were younger and you are like 3, 4 years old, and they bought you a bike, what do you want to do? You always want to ride your bike all day, all night. That's the way I look at real estate. Okay. Now, um, I've done a whole bunch of other things. I used to own a technology company. Uh, the technology behind GIC Deal Finders was something that I conceived about 2 years ago. I created all the programs that needed to build it. I didn't do the coding. I hired the people that did the coding of the website. Um, I've read over 500 books on investing, and I still read books on a daily basis. Now, so the question I want to ask you is this: why are you here? Why are you on this webinar right now? Is it because you want to get your real estate questions answered? Or is it because you want to learn as much as I know, or as much as you can? Is it because you want to find out how to make more money in real estate? Or are you just one of those people just looking, trying to find out, what should I do? What should be my next move? Or you're just curious. I want to know what this towing guy has to offer, you know. Uh, or you already know how to do this. You just, you know, want to get a little bit more information, because I go to a lot of webinars um, just to pick up more information, because you never know it all. So For whatever reason you're here, I want to welcome you to the webinar, as I stated earlier. So the main question, the big question is this, okay? Because people are always worried, you know, in terms of starting a new career. If you're already in real estate and you know what to do, okay, it's very simple. But if you're brand new and you're always worried, okay, everybody's talking about this real estate, how can I make money at it? I've tried before, I couldn't make money. Um, and I can tell you this, you're not alone. 95% of the people that go to webinars, seminars, um, that buy books on real estate, that aspire to become a real estate investor, 95% of them never buy a single property. Okay. And so over the years that I've been doing this, okay, I've done a lot of investigations and I wrote a lot of articles, and I know why I failed when I started. Okay, because I had made several attempts. I bought books, I bought seminars, and I went home, read the books, read the seminars. And then when I encounter a problem, the guy that gave me the seminar is nowhere around. I couldn't, I mean, not that I can't find him, but part of the seminar or the book did not include me calling him. In fact, they never give you their phone number anyway to begin with. So when you buy a book, okay, and you get home and you read it, and usually they give you a ton of information. And so you read it, and then you go to make an offer, which happened to me. I bought Carlton Sheets program twice over a period of 5 years. And in between, I always dream, oh, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But the moment I went out there to try to do it, and I ran into a problem, I didn't know what to do. And the seller looked at me, and he was almost laughed me out of his house because I couldn't answer his question. And so over the years, I realized, based on my research, is that the reason people don't buy, okay, or they end up not buying, you know, is because number one is fear. Number two, when the time comes for somebody to answer the question that they need in order to make a deal, that coach or the book is not there. There's nobody to answer your question. So you've read the book, and the book says do A, B, C, D. You do A, B, C, D, and then you get to a question that is beyond D, and you don't know what to do. Okay. And so what do? You just put the book aside and you look for the next shiny object. So I want this to be, hopefully, uh, your last I don't know, information gathering, or last step in terms of making a solid decision from now on as to how you are going to get involved in real estate to where you become a success. The whole goal of embarking on something new is to determine that you want to become a success. And the only way to become a success at anything, just like Tony Robbins, if you've been a Tony Robbins student, just like I've been over the last 20 years, Tony Robbins always say, if you want to succeed at something, you find somebody who has done it and you ask them to show you, which means they hold your hands. Books are good, and I read a lot of books. Okay, um, books are good in terms of giving you roadmap, giving you a general overview. But when it comes to sometimes certain uh, information, when it comes to implementing certain strategies, you sometimes run into a brick wall, and if there's nobody there to answer your question, then you just give up. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons most of you have this question that, well, the only thing stopping me is money. I know for a fact that money has nothing to do with buying property. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay, so for those of you that are on the webinar right now that are thinking, damn, I couldn't do this because I have no money. Um, I have several different ways of buying property, and I could tell you about 95% of the property that I bought, I did not have to put any of my money down. Money was involved, but it doesn't have to be your money. In fact, when I started, I started because when I went back on my real estate career, buying and selling properties as a full time, I had built all these businesses, and then one day something happened and I lost all my businesses. I lost $10 million in a span of several months. But I actually lost it in a day because what happened? One day I was worth 10, the next day I was worth almost zero. I had about 100 employees. I had to lay off 70% of my employees because of what happened in my business, which is another uh, book, the story of a book that I'll be writing later. So, so I was miserable for almost 2 years before I actually get back and got involved in buying real estate full time. And so when I started buying full time, I started on a credit line of $298 that I got from my local newspaper. And that's what I leveraged to over 400 properties over a period of 6, 7, 8 years. So if you have no money, okay, you know, just make sure you have, number one, you have the time. And number two, you have somebody who's going to guide you and show you how to navigate the whole process with or without money. If you have money, that's good. And even if you have money, I will tell you don't use your own money. Get other people's money. That's what the banks do. Okay. That's what most financial institutions do. They don't use their money, they get your money and then they loan it to other people. So I'm going to teach you the same thing now. And so it leads me to this question, right? Which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because people always say, well, I can buy real estate because I don't have money. People that have money, they can find properties to buy. Okay. But if your money is your excuse for not buying real estate, I am here to tell you today that that excuse no longer will exist once you become one of my I I want to say inner circle, or if you let me hold your hand, put it that way. Okay, you know, if you let me hold your hand over the period of time to where you become an expert just like me, you will find out that you could buy real estate with or without money. Now, so if you're looking at on my screen right now, it says which one comes first, the property or the money. So I'm going to tell you a story about this property. This property was actually located by one of my members. Okay, his name is Andre. I don't know if Andre is online. Uh, Andre located this property. Okay, and I mean, this property had been vacant for 5 years, and so over the 5 years, several people drove by this property. Okay, over 5 years, property was vacant for 5 years, and everybody drove by. There were neighbors on the left side, on the right side. Not a single person thought to themselves, wait a minute, let me investigate what's going on with this property, right? And so that's where knowledge come in, because my student, who is now an apprentice student, Andre is one of my apprentice students, and he's doing phenomenally great. Okay, he's got about 5 or 6 deals uh, right now that we're working on. Okay, so when Andre joined our program, this is one of the first properties that he encountered. The property was vacant. It was not far from his neighborhood. So he sent me the address. We looked up the property. I said, okay, let me find out who the owner is. We found out who the owner was. We trace the owner. We have, ways of finding who owns what property. And even when they move, we have a way of skip tracing. Skip tracing is what, um, debt collectors use. When people are hiding from debt collectors, they skip trace you. In other words, they hire private investigators. Really, that's what they do. They hire private investigators to look for you. So we skip trace this guy. We found out where he worked. Okay, and I called him where he worked, and I said, hey, Mr. Jones, I'm interested in your property. And the first thing he told me was, well, it's not my property. I don't own the property. I said, well, the property is in your name. He said, no, I don't own the property. So I went to see him and I showed him the information, the property profile that says, hey, this is your property. Now, so he said, well, no, the bank took it 5 years ago. I explained to him, well, the bank didn't take it. It's in your name. And if you leave it in your name, if something happens to the property, you're still responsible. It's as simple as that. There were liens from the city. If you look at the property, you will notice that the garage door is boarded up. Some of the other parts of the house is boarded up. The door was nailed shut because we couldn't get in either. And there was a lot of damage to the property inside. People had gone in and stripped the property of all the wires, all the copper and stuff like that. So I explained to Mr. Jones, I'll call him Mr. Jones, that this is your property. If you don't get it out of your name, if something happens, you're responsible. It's as simple as that. When you're on title, okay, the bank is not responsible for your house. And that's where a lot of people get confused as to, what is the responsibility of the bank. The only responsibility the bank has is to safeguard the house, okay? And even they don't even care about that because there is insurance on the house. If this house burns down, the bank will just activate their insurance and get paid. If somebody were to fall in the house, the owner is responsible because it has nothing to do with the bank. So that's why I try to explain to the owner that the city liens, for abatement that are coming on this property is yours. It's coming in your name. It's not coming in the lender's name. Okay. And the city will collect. So I told him, well, here's what we can do. I'll buy the property from you, take it out of your name. I'll go to the bank, and negotiate. At the time that we met this guy, he owed about $459,000 on the property. Okay, $459,000 because he hadn't paid for 5 years. He bought the property at the top of the market. He bought it around 2007 or 8. Okay, the market crashed. He just took off. And he also had a second of about 100,000 or something, or 110. So I bought the property from him. Okay. Now, most people, when they find out the guy owes 450,000, at the time I went to meet this guy, I knew this property wasn't worth, but maybe fixed up, maybe about 220 or 230, fixed up. Okay. So I told him, you know what, I'll buy the property from you. Okay. Take it out of your name. And if that's what you want, it's just toying. I don't want the property, just take it out of my name, please. I'm tired of these banks. They're driving me crazy. I just don't want it. He was practically begging me to take the property from him. So I wrote up the contract. I had him sign it right there and then, because sometimes people complicate real estate. Okay, I always have my yellow pad with me. So I took out my yellow pad. I wrote the contract right there. And I said, Mr. Jones agrees to sell this property to, my company, and I actually put the property in my daughter's name. My daughter's pet name. I put it on the pumpkin, but I put it in trust for her. Okay, and I gave the owner $10. So I bought this property for $10, right? So now, if you're worried, well, about money, I want to ask you, do you have $10? So if you have $10, you could control this property. Okay, and that's the crucial part of real estate. The ability to control the property is what determines whether you're going to own a property or you're not. You don't have to have money to control a property. And part of the things that I teach my students is the ability to control the property so that you will go and get the money that you need to close the deal. So I controlled the property for $10. Then I negotiated with the bank to reduce the outstanding balance. Okay, so he owed about 459 on the first, and on the second, I think he owed about $110,000. So in all, this guy owed about $569,000 on this property. So over a period of about 60 days, we negotiated the deal. Okay, I discounted the loan, negotiated the price that the bank is going to take for their loan to about $112,000. Right? So we closed on the deal. we own the property, and so I got one of my investor partners to come in. He came in with all the money to buy the property, 112,000, all the money to fix it up, okay? And I was still out only $10. But guess what? After we fix up this property, I think this next day, I think about a day or two after we put it on the market, okay, an offer came in for $230,000. So we bought it for 112,000. Okay, I think we put about 30,000 in it to fix it up. Okay, and we had an offer coming in for $230,000. That's almost $80,000 profit on an investment of $10. Okay, so for all of you out there that says, well, my problem is money, I just proved to you right there that money is not the problem. Okay, now, so when it comes to whether you're going to need money, or you need experience or coaching, or you need somebody holding your hand, okay, if you have somebody holding your hand, you will notice that money is not the problem. And the reason I know that is this: you could read all the books that says, you call the bank, you negotiate, and you do this and you do that. The biggest problem, as I said earlier, is that when you run into a problem, okay, the bank is not going to answer your question. You have to know what to tell the bank. Now, so if you don't have somebody to call and say, you know what, this is the problem I run into, okay, and I know this because when Andre, who's one of my apprentice students, I deliberately put him in the field and I said, go and do this because I know he's going to have questions. Okay, for example, when we're fixing the property, I send him to the city, let him go figure it out because he was in training. So he will have to go to the city and call me when he gets to the city, ask the city, oh, I'm here to do this. And they'll say, well, do you have ABCD? I say, I don't have it. So you have to call Toyin. So that's the difference right there, such that you don't always have to be worried about money. You are worried about finding a deal and putting a deal together. Because once you put the deal together and it's very solid, the money will chase you. I have people throwing money at me all the time, asking me when is my next deal. Do you have a property for us? We want to invest in your property. Okay, so your ability to find property is really what separates you from people that are successful and people that are not successful. So having find a property and have the ability to put the deal together um, helps you attract money. It's as simple as that. So if your biggest question is money, okay, as of today, you have to put that aside and now start thinking that really your biggest problem is finding a deal, and then having somebody who's going to coach you or hold your hand toward the deal to where you make money over a long haul. So what's the process? How do you find a property? Well, you could look, you search, you could get property by referral. Somebody tells you, I have several properties that are referred to me by people that know I'm in business. There are different sources of, foreclosures, the website, yellow pages, mailers, all kind of ways you can look to find property. Okay, and today there is what I would call unlimited source of leads. I mean, give you some numbers. Okay, at least 1 to 2 million properties exchange hands every year in the US. Right? As I speak to you right now, okay, there are about 14 million homes in the US that are vacant. 14 million. And if you don't believe me, I want you to get in your car after this seminar and just map out 1 square mile of your area, okay, and drive around, okay, drive around 1 square mile of your area, and then when you're done, see how many properties you come back with that needs help, that needs work, that somebody should buy, that are an eyesore in the neighborhood. Okay, that's how I still find deals that way. Everywhere I go, okay, I have my radar out, whether at night, during the day. Okay, I always have my radar out just so I can find properties. And if you do the same thing, you have properties coming out of your ears regularly. You don't have to even advertise, because in any city, no matter how small, in the US, you have at least, several hundred, if not thousands. Okay. The next seminar, I'll share with you city by city the number of properties that are vacant in each city. Okay. And so once you find this thing, then how do you determine, whether it's a good deal? I mean, that's what you call the smell test. Or, for those who are not experienced, they rely on the real estate agent to tell them if this is a good deal. They rely on the appraiser. They rely on their friend who is never bought a property before. Okay. Um, until you are able to rely on yourself, okay, to determine what is a good property, or you have a coach that tells you, well, this is a good property, you should take it on. It's very frustrating sometimes because you don't know whether to go or not to go, whether to pull the trigger or not to pull the trigger, even when you have money, because it's very scary if you've never done it before. I mean, up until today that I'm on this webinar right now, okay, I have never done a webinar live. So it was scary to me. I put it off, I put it off, I put it off until I had somebody hold my hand the other day that actually took me through the process, okay, and I found out it's not as tough as it is, but I still had to rely on this coach um, to show me what to do, because I'm not a webinar guy, I'm not a guru. That's why I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, because I know exactly what to do. So when you have a coach telling you what is a good deal and what is not a good deal, you move faster along the ladder compared to somebody who is still reading a book, checking it out, trying to do a workbook, and having nobody to ask questions. That's what helps you to determine whether you should invest in a junk or a junket or whatever. You see, I'll give you an example. If you look at this property that is on the screen right now, this property it will sell for about $200,000. Okay, just like the other property we found, it's been vacant for about 6 years, right? Right now, it's another one of those properties that my student apprentice found, Andre. And so we're in negotiation with the bank on this property right now. Okay, I could have bought the property, but I didn't want to pay the bank's price. Okay, I wrote a contract with the owner. I bought the property for $1. Okay, this property has a loan on it right now, outstanding of over $400,000. Okay, now, but I control the property because we have the grant deed. So the bank not only has to deal with us, okay, we also have permission from the owner to deal with the bank. And so my negotiation with the bank, okay, my guess, okay, I mean, I want you to guess, for those of you on the line, you guess how much I actually offer for this property. Okay, well, I paid more than $1. I paid the owner $1. I see some of you guessing, $10, 1,000 bucks, 20,000. Well, my first offer to the bank on this property was 6,000 bucks. So I paid the owner $1 and I made an offer to the bank of 6,000. Remember, the loan on the property is over 400,000. I offered 6,000 bucks because the property is going to need a lot of work. Okay, this is the kitchen. The third picture right here is the kitchen. This is the main property. This is like the backyard. It's also got a pool. So my first offer was 6,000 bucks. The bank rejected the offer. Um, because they rejected the offer, I countered and sent another offer in. I upped my offer to about 18,000. They rejected it. So right now, the bank has an appraisal, according to them, of about 50,000. I could pay 50,000 for this property and still make money, but I like to go in at the lowest point I can. So right now we're close to what the bank wants, okay, but we're still about 10 of $12,000 away. Okay, because when I go to buy a property, okay, if I could, my goal is to steal it. I mean, pay the lowest, right? So that the day I buy the property, I already know how much money I'm going to make when I exit. And that's the difference between somebody who knows what they're doing, because a lot of people went to seminars, they end up in real estate, they got a bunch of money, and they put it in real estate, they lost the money, and they say, well, real estate is terrible, you're going to lose your money. Because when they go to these seminars, they only gather a little bit of information. And some people that didn't go to the seminar, they went, they read books, they went on all these websites, gathered a lot of free information, and they end up losing their money. Okay, there's one rule in real estate. Okay, and the rule is this: do you make your money the day you buy real estate? Okay, the day you buy it is the day you make your money. When you sell it is when you take your profit. I've never ever paid more than 70 cents on the dollar for a property. Even the property I live in, I bought it for 50 cents on the dollar. So, so I want to ask you again, okay? Um, I don't have money to do deals. My question to you is, how many deals do you have? Because if you don't have deals, you can't have money. Deals attract money. So I asked earlier, you know, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. So if you don't have deals, you can't get money. You can't call somebody and say, you know what, I'm planning to invest in real estate. Can you give me some money? They're gonna laugh at you. But if you call somebody and say, look, here's the property, here's the address, I want you to drive by. Okay, here's my contract. Okay, the property is worth 200,000. Here's my contract. I'm buying it for 100,000. We're gonna fix it for 10,000. When we are done, it's 90,000 to split between the two of us. Or if you loan me the money, I'll give you 12% interest. You think they might listen to you? But if you have no deals and you're just gasping there that, you know what, I'm hoping to go get this deal, and when I get it, will you give me some money? And so money is not the problem, okay? It's your ability to get deals, your ability to negotiate the deals, your ability to put the deal under contract is the problem. Now, I stated earlier there are about 14 million homes out there that are vacant. Vacant, abandoned, they're all in bad shape. Okay. There are properties that were inherited by people that they don't want it. There are properties that have been foreclosed on, that the owners left and the bank did not complete the foreclosure. They call them zombie foreclosures. There are about millions of them still. Um, there are properties that are in code violations where the city condemned the property, the owner left because they didn't have enough money to fix it. So there are thousands and thousands and thousands of those properties. And your job is just to focus on a specific area of the real estate business, right? Where you are able to have properties actually chase you. Like right now, I have properties all over coming out of my ears, leads that I can even attend to on a regular basis. Okay. And so that's why I'm able to attract the money, because the leads and the deals are there. And I always tell my students, the sellers need you more than you need them. So when you go to a seller and you negotiate a property and they tell you they don't want your price, just move on. Because, if you go to a bus stop and you miss the last bus, do you just go home and say, well, I missed the last bus, I'm not going to go to work today? No, you wait for the next bus. That's the way I look at property. Okay, I don't fret over properties. I don't fret over missing deals, because I know the next one is just around the corner. So instead of worrying about the one you lost, just focus on the next one, and the next one will come quicker if you're focused on the next one. Now, um, here are some deals that I did, in the past. Okay, uh, all these deals, about 60 deals, to which I attracted about $8.3 million. Okay, came from one of my sources. They gave me over a period of time, on 60 deals. Obviously, the deals were done, one deal at a time. So in some cases, they advanced 70,000. In some cases, 80,000, 100,000, 200,000. Okay, but in each case, not only did they advance the money 100%, they gave me money to fix up the property. So I was in the deal with zero. Besides, sometimes I give the owner, when I write the contract, I always give them $100 or maybe a dollar down, $100. Okay, whatever is my mood at the time, or I try to give as little as possible. Most of the time, I give zero down. Okay, and people think, well, you can't put zero down. Yes, you can. So that's just from one source, because I had so many deals. These people call me all the time, Tony, you have a deal. Tony, you have a deal. Today I still get calls every day from lenders, partners that want to make a good return on their money, because I get them 10, 20 times what they could get at their bank. If somebody is getting 1% at their bank, and I can get them 12 times, which is 12%, and put them in a secure, safe investment, why wouldn't they do business with me? Okay, they're going to have a deed of trust on the property. If I default on the property, they have a protection of 30, 40%. They could sell the property and make double their money. That's why I say to people, real estate is the safest, most secure investment. The only problem is that most people don't know. They don't know how to navigate the process. So if you have a good deal, the money will show up. Okay, and that's my philosophy. So, just from one source, I got over $8 million. Now, I explained earlier what is my qualification, and I stated I am also a broker, right? You can't really see this picture, right? But inside this picture is a list of properties that I bought, owned, and listed inside the multiple listing book. Because as a broker, I list my own properties. Okay, and inside this picture is over about 409 properties that I listed through my local multiple listing, okay, that I sold myself. Now, most agents, when they sell a property, they make 3%, right? So if they sell $100,000 property, the agent will make 3%, right? When I sell $100,000 property, I make $40,000 because I own the property. Then not only that, then I make another 3% commission, okay, in addition to um, being the owner. Okay, so whether you are an agent listening to this or you're just a regular investor, first of all, you don't need a license to buy and sell property. And as a member of GIC Deal Finders, okay, you don't need a license to refer properties to me. And if I buy it, you get paid $5,000. It's as simple as that. You find it, I found it, I buy it, you get paid 5,000. You don't have to do anything besides that. So my question to you is, where do you go from here? Do you want help? Do you want me to help you? So if you want me to help you, I want you to, put in the chat box, how many of you need help? So if you want help, the only thing I can say to you is you are the only person that can stop you from getting help. Okay? You are the only person standing in your way. All right? So um, if you're if you're ready for help, there are certain things you have to do. Okay, so I am going to wind down the webinar right now. Okay. And so for those who want to do a follow-up and need some help or want to become part of my inner circle, um, I want you to send me an email. And if you're a member, you know how to send me an email. But if you don't have my email address, I am going to put it here so that um, every one of you can see it. It's right here. So she sent me an email to, okay, just send me an email. I want you all to write that down. Send me an email and you tell me exactly what you want to do and how you want to be helped. Okay, tell me what is stopping you from taking the next move, okay, or moving forward in terms of becoming a real estate investor, because the help is right here. Okay, I can give you all the help you need. So if you want a one-on-one help with me, okay, I'm going to put the email back up again. Okay, so it's amazingtoyin@gmail.com. Okay, so send me an email. Okay, tell me why you want me to help you, and I'll schedule a one-on-one consultation with you, and then we'll decide what kind of help you need, how soon you need it, and how you could get to the next level and someday become, uh, like me. So I want to thank you guys, for coming on the seminar. And like I always say, it's not where you are now that matters, as in what direction you are heading. Okay, the American dream is within your reach, and so I will see all of you at the top. I stated earlier, this is one of my first webinars. Webinar is not something that I do. I'm not really a guru. I don't want to be a guru, but I want people to understand that you move faster up the ladder if you have somebody that is holding your hand in doing something that somebody has already done. Okay, I've done it. I know every aspect of real estate. There's nothing in real estate that is shrouded as far as I'm concerned. To me, okay, I have navigated every angle of buying, selling, putting deals together, locating owners, um, negotiating, you name it, and everything that I've done, okay, I have not had the problem of getting the money to do any deal. So I want to say thank you for coming to this webinar. Um, just go, send me an email if you have questions, and I will see you guys at the top. So thank you very much.